Next on BGSU Brain Game, it is Eastwood versus Anthony Wayne. You better get ready for a thorough thrashing of the thinkers. Only one team can leave victorious. Who's it going to be? Only one way to find out. BGSU's Brain Game starts right now. And welcome to BGSU Brain Game. It is Eastwood versus Anthony Wayne. Let's meet our team, starting with Anthony Wayne. Tell us who you are.
I'm Joe. I'm a senior. To my left is Arjun. He's a freshman. And to my right is Dylan, also a senior.
And you're coached by?
Hare Jones.
All right. Eastwood, tell us who you are.
I'm Curtis Nutter. I'm a senior. On my left is Henry Howard, a senior. And on my right is Cameron Brinker, a freshman. Henry is also a freshman.
That's all right. And you're coached by?
The lovely Mrs. Karen Smoyer.
All right, welcome to both of our teams. Going to start things off with a toss-up round. There's 10 questions in this round. They're worth 10 points apiece. No deduction for an incorrect answer. You can confer before buzzing in, and you can steal a question in this round. Let's have some fun. Eastwood, Anthony Wayne, are you ready?
Yeah.
Sir.
Here we go. In a short story by Nathaniel Hawthorne, according to the title, what article of clothing does the minister wear, which he dons one Sunday morning and ultimately wears to his grave? That would be Anthony Wayne. Joe?
A scarlet letter.
Incorrect. Eastwood, would you like to steal? That would be Curtis.
The black veil.
The black veil, yes. Which explorer and medical missionary was journalist Henry Morton Stanley sent to Africa to search for in the 19th century, only to locate him near Victoria Falls on the Zambezi River? That would be Eastwood. Curtis?
Brown.
Incorrect. Anthony Wayne, would you like to steal? That would be Arjun.
Smith.
Incorrect. Dr. David Livingstone. Identify the mechanical structure that allows for the flow of a fluid through a pipe, duct, or other tube, especially an automatic device, allowing movement in one direction only. That would be Anthony Wayne. Arjun?
Gravity.
Incorrect. Eastwood, would you like to steal? That'd be Curtis.
A pump.
Incorrect. A valve is what we needed there, a valve. Early European music grew from the music of the Christian church in the Middle Ages. What simple form of music for one voice? That would be Eastwood. Curtis?
Gregorian chant.
Will we just accept chant? Will we accept that? Yes, we will. They are indeed chants. Identify the world's best-selling author of legal thrillers whose first novel attempt was rejected by 28 publishers. His early successes included The Firm and The Pelican Brief. That would be Eastwood. Curtis?
Patterson.
Incorrect. Anthony Wayne, opportunity to steal. That would be Arjun.
Brown.
Incorrect. Grisham, John Grisham there. Wait, good attempts though, everybody. Often associated with slips of the tongue, this form of verbal error occurs when one transposes letters or syllables of words in a sentence or phrase and can be a deliberate gesture for humorous effect. That would be Eastwood. Curtis?
A pun.
Incorrect. One example of the saying would be shoving leopard instead of loving shepherd. That would be Arjun.
Mumbling.
Incorrect. Spoonerism, and I'll be honest with you, happens to me all the time. E. coli are rod-shaped bacteria that can infect the lower intestine of warm-blooded organisms. The infection is caused by an exotoxin that the bacteria secretes while it is living. Other bacteria like Salmonella typhi produce primarily what kind of toxin as they die? That would be Anthony Wayne. Dylan?
Endotoxin?
Endotoxin is what we needed there, yes. What type of strong, dry, hot, and dust-bearing wind of Southern California blows in from the Mojave Desert during the winter? Time. Those are known as the Santa Ana winds. About 5% of the worldwide energy from photosynthesis goes to generate this gas. Name this greenhouse. That would be Anthony Wayne. Arjun?
Greenhouse gases.
Incorrect. Name this greenhouse gas and most abundant hydrocarbon in the atmosphere. Eastwood, opportunity to steal. That would be Henry.
Carbon dioxide.
Incorrect. Methane is what we needed there. When the Erie Canal opened in 1825, this university was the only one in the United States with an engineering school. Name this military installation. That would be Anthony Wayne Arjun.
West Point.
West Point is what we needed there, yes. That is all 10 questions in this round. Eastwood, Anthony Wayne, we're tied. Wow. All right, you're going to want to stick around, folks. Our risk and reward round is coming up next. Stay tuned. And welcome back to BGSU Brain Game. We are tied, ladies and gentlemen. Eastwood 20, Anthony Wayne 20. We have some substitutions. Let's find out who has joined us. Anthony Wayne, who has joined your team?
We have Harrison to my left now. He's a senior.
All right, welcome to you. Eastwood, whole new lineup. Tell us who you are.
I'm Avery Patchett, I'm a junior. To my left is Justin Lang, a junior, and Joshua Beard, also a junior.
All right, welcome to all of our new and returning players. This is the risk and reward round. Both teams, you will receive the same 9 questions. They're worth 10 points apiece, no deduction for an incorrect answer. Our 10th question is our risk and reward question. We will give you a topic. You can risk up to 30 points in 5-point increments based upon that topic. You get it right, bonus points are yours. You get it wrong, deduction on that question alone. If you don't like it though, you can simply pass. All right, we are tied, so we did a coin toss. Eastwood, you won that toss. You will be sticking around. Anthony Wayne, off to isolation you go. All right, Eastwood, are you ready for your risk and reward round? Here we go. Under the United States Constitution, there are 3 requirements a candidate must meet in order to be eligible for the United States House of Representatives. The first 2 are 1, at least 25 years old, 2, a citizen of the United States for at least 7 years, and what is the third? Time. You must live in the state that you represent. In what body of water does the Yellow River drain? That would be Avery.
Gulf of Mexico.
Incorrect. The Bohai Sea is what we needed there. Name the English king who was deposed during the Glorious Revolution in 1688 to 1889. Or 1689, excuse me. Avery.
King George.
Incorrect. James II. Good effort. This painting by Pablo Picasso depicts the Nazis' bombing of a Basque city. The city and the painting have the same name. What is it? That would be Joshua.
Birmingham.
Incorrect. Guernica is what we needed there. Misha remarked, I love life and I love life and I live life in luxury. Which figure of speech did she use in her statement? That would be Avery.
Alliteration.
Alliteration is correct. The stable middle stage of a star's life is designated by which 2-word phrase? Main sequence is what we needed there. Lichen is a flowerless plant. Which 2 organisms live together as a single unit in lichen? That would be Avery.
A mushroom and a moss.
Will we accept that? Nope, that would be fungus and an algae, or an algae. Give the 2-word phrase used collectively to describe Thomas Benton, John Calhoun, and Henry Clay, among others, as proponents of American involvement in the War of 1812. That would be Joshua.
Belligerent fools.
Huh. That is one way to put it, but we needed specifically warhawks in that scenario. This 8-letter science term derives from the Latin for bank and describes the forested land surrounding streams, rivers, and lakes. Identify this adjective that begins with the letter R. That would be Justin.
Riparian.
Riparian is correct. This is the risk and reward question. The topic is Southern U.S. geography. Up to 30 points in 5-point increments, or if you don't like it, you can pass.
15.
Going for 15 points, Southern U.S. geography. Give the name of any two of the Southern U.S. states through which the Natchez Trace Parkway runs. That would be Avery.
Texas and Oklahoma.
Incorrect. Mississippi, Alabama, or Tennessee. Eastwood, that is the end of the risk and reward round for you. It's now time for you to go to isolation, and let's bring back in Anthony Wayne. All right, Anthony Wayne, are you ready for your risk and reward round?
Yeah.
Here we go. Under the United States Constitution, there are 3 requirements a candidate must meet in order to be eligible for the United States House of Representatives. The first 2 are 1, at least 25 years old, 2, a citizen of the United States for at least 7 years, and what is the third?
In their state for a year, I believe. I think that's it.
All right, resident of their
Can you
state.
buzz in, please?
Oh.
Go ahead and buzz in and say it.
Resident of their state for a year.
We will accept that. Correct. In what body of water does the Yellow River drain? That would be Joe.
The East China Sea.
Incorrect. The Bohai Sea. Name the English king who was deposed during the Glorious Revolution in 1688 to 89.
James II or Charles II?
I'd say James.
I think it's James, yeah.
That would be Joe.
James II?
Correct.
Yes.
This painting by Pablo Picasso depicts the Nazi bombing of a Basque city. The city and the painting have the same name. What is it? That would be
Guernica.
Joe.
Oh, sorry. Guernica.
Guernica is correct, or Guernica. Misha remarked, "I love life and I live life in luxury." Which figure of speech did she use in her statement? Not in time. Alliteration is what we needed there. The stable middle stage of a star's life is designated by which 2-word phrase?
Riding high.
Oh, no. They expand a lot, don't they?
That would be a main sequence star. Lichen is a flowerless plant. Which 2 organisms live together as a single unit in lichen?
I have no idea.
Moss and mold.
Try it.
That would be Joe.
Moss and mold.
Incorrect. Fungus and algae is what we needed there. Give the 2-word phrase used collectively to describe Thomas Benton, John Calhoun, and Henry Clay, among others, as proponents of American involvement in the War of 1812.
2-word phrase. Redcoats?
Warhawks.
Warhawks, yeah. That's right.
That would be Joe.
Warhawks?
Warhawks is indeed correct. This 8-letter science term derives from the Latin for bank and describes the forested land surrounding streams, rivers, and lakes. Identify this adjective that begins with the letter R.
A reservoir? That's
Maybe.
too long.
Go with it.
Try it.
That would be Joe.
Reservoir?
Incorrect. Riparian is what we needed there. This is the risk and reward question. The topic is Southern U.S. geography. You can risk up to 30 points in 5-point increments, or you can simply pass.
15 or 20.
I say 10.
Let's play it safe. Say 10.
Oh, we can do 15.
I say 15.
All right, 15.
15 it is on Southern U.S. geography. Give the name of any 2 of the Southern U.S. states through which the Natchez Trace Parkway runs.
Natchez Trace Parkway. So name 2 southern states.
New Mexico.
Time. Mississippi, Alabama, and Tennessee is what we needed there. Going to deduct those points for you. Anthony Wayne, that is the end of the risk and reward round for you. Let's clear our scores. Let's bring back in Eastwood. Come on in, Eastwood. Welcome back. Let's see where we stand. Anthony Wayne has 45 points. Eastwood stands at 25 points. Only 20 points separate our 2 teams. Still very much anybody's game. You're going to want to stick around. Our category round is coming up next. Stay tuned. And welcome back to BGSU Brain Game. Eastwood 25, Anthony Wayne 45. Still anybody's game. Eastwood, you have a returning member or a new member who's come back.
We have Curtis Nutter, who's a senior.
All right, welcome to you. Anthony Wayne staying with their lineup from the last round. This is the category round. There are 6 categories to choose from. Questions worth 10, 15, 20, 25, and 30 points. But the drama begins now. That's right. Deductions are gonna start. There is one double or nothing question in there, which always has the potential of being a game changer. You may confer before buzzing in, and you can steal a question in this round. Eastwood, since you are at 25 points, you get to make the first selection.
We'll go equine terms for 20.
Equine terms for 20. Given the definition and first letter of each correct response, identify each of the following associated with a variety of equine animals. Mature female horse, 4 years or older, the letter is M. That would be Anthony Wayne. Harrison.
Mare.
Mare is correct. Anthony Wayne takes control.
Sure.
World History 25.
World history for 25 points. The Boxer Rebellion took place in what country? That would be Anthony Wayne. Joe.
China.
China is correct. Anthony Wayne in control, making a move.
World History 20.
World history for 20 points. Mongol leader who had failed naval campaigns against Japan in 1274 and 1281. That would be Anthony Wayne. Joe.
Kublai Khan.
Kublai Khan is correct. Anthony Wayne, your choice.
World History 15.
World history now for 15 points. Country that Saddam Hussein ordered invaded in Anthony Wayne. Joe.
Kuwait.
Kuwait is correct in 1990. Anthony Wayne, yours.
30.
World History 30.
World history now for 30 points. Country led by Benazir Bhutto as its first female prime minister in 1988. That would be Eastwood. Curtis.
Iceland.
Incorrect. Anthony Wayne, opportunity to steal. Anthony Wayne staying away from it. Pakistan is what we were looking for there. Anthony Wayne in control.
World History 10.
World history for 10 points. Country that was split along the 38th parallel. Anthony Wayne. Joe.
Korea.
Korea is correct. Anthony Wayne in control.
Motion and its laws 15.
Motion and its laws for 15 points. Identify each of the following associated with motion and the laws of motion. Number of Newton's law that states an object at rest will remain. Anthony Wayne. Harrison.
First.
That is indeed the first law, will remain at rest. Anthony Wayne in control.
Same category, 20.
All right, motion and its laws 20.
Motion, laws, 20. In the formula F equals ma, what quantity is represented by the A? That would be Eastwood. Avery.
Acceleration.
Acceleration is correct. And Eastwood yanks back control.
Motion and its laws 25.
Motion and its laws for 25 points. State of an object when the only force acting on it is gravity. That would be Eastwood. Avery.
Falling.
Falling. Will we accept falling? We will not accept falling. Anthony Wayne. Harrison.
Free fall.
Free fall is what we needed there. Yes. Anthony Wayne in control.
Do 10.
Motion and its laws 10.
Motion and its laws for 10. The tendency of an object to, that would be Anthony Wayne. Harrison.
Inertia.
Inertia, yes. To any change in its motion. Anthony Wayne in control.
Words 10.
Reversible words 10.
Reversible words for 10 points. This is a fun one. Reversible words are words that when spelled backwards form a different word. For example, when the letters of the word stressed are reversed, the new word formed is desserts. Yummy. I will read 2 definitions. You provide the 2 words we are looking for. To cease action or round containers, that would be Eastwood. Avery.
Stop and pots.
Stop and pots is correct. Eastwood takes back control.
Reversible words for 15.
Reversible words for 15 points. The past tense of the verb win, or that would be Eastwood. Avery.
Won or now.
Correct. And Eastwood in control.
Reversible words 30.
Reversible words for 30 points. Money offered for the return of an item, or a container in a dresser? That would be Anthony Wayne. Dylan.
Reward or drawer?
That is correct. Anthony Wayne back in control.
Rome 10.
Rome for 10 points. Identify each of the following associated with ancient Rome. African coastal city-state involved in the Punic Wars. That would be Anthony Wayne. Joe.
Carthage.
Carthage is what we needed there, yes.
Ancient Rome 15.
Ancient Rome for 15 points. Type of government established in 509 BC after the Latins. That would be Anthony Wayne. Joe.
Republic.
Republic is what we needed there, yes. Anthony Wayne in control.
Ancient Rome 20.
Ancient Rome now for 20 points. The 3 continents across which Rome rule stretched. That would be Anthony Wayne. Dylan.
Europe, Asia, Africa.
Correct. Anthony Wayne stepping on the gas.
Ancient Rome 25.
Ancient Rome for 25 points. Uncovered patios containing plants and flowers around which, that would be Eastwood. Curtis.
Sicily.
Incorrect. Around which most Roman homes were built. That would be Anthony Wayne. Dylan.
Piazza?
Incorrect. We needed atrium there. Atrium. Anthony Wayne in control.
Clip words 10.
Clipped words for 10 points. I will read a clipped word that has been derived from a longer, more formal word. You are to identify the word from which the clipped word has been formed. The short word is gross. That would be Eastwood. Justin.
Grotesque.
Grotesque is correct. Eastwood in control. Oh, that is the end of the category round. Let's take a look at our score. Anthony Wayne with a commanding lead at 235 points. But it's not over yet, folks. That's right. Our brainstorm round is coming up next, where questions are worth 20 points apiece. Stay tuned. And welcome back to BGSU Brain Game. We are going into our final round, but let's check with our team first. Anthony Wayne, looks like we have a returning player. Who has returned with your team, Joe?
We got Arjun back in here again.
All right, welcome to you. And, Eastwood, a new lineup. Remind us who you are.
I'm Henry Howard, freshman. To my left is Joshua Beard, junior, and to my right is Cameron Brinker, also a freshman.
All right, welcome to both of our teams. Line up for this final brainstorm round. In this round, all questions are worth 20 points apiece, negative 20 points for an incorrect answer. You may confer before buzzing in, but no stealing. I repeat, no stealing in this round. All right, Anthony Wayne, Eastwood, brainstorm round starts right now. With which international service industry would you associate Lloyd's of London? That would be Anthony Wayne. Joe?
Banking.
Incorrect. Insurance. In an atom, which 2 of the components are the most massive? That would be Anthony Wayne. Joe?
Protons and neutrons.
Correct. Name the lowest lake in the world. That would be Anthony Wayne. Arjun?
Crater Lake.
Incorrect. Located between Israel and Jordan, it is the Dead Sea. Identify the New York Yankee first baseman famous for the second longest streak of consecutive games, played at 2,130. 2,130. That'd be Lou Gehrig is what we needed there. The tendency of an organism to maintain internal balance. That will be Eastwood. Henry?
Homeostasis.
Correct. At what 490 BC battle between the Persians and the Athenians became famous for a 42.19? That would be Anthony Wayne. Dylan?
Marathon?
Marathon, correct. Identify the branch of biology dedicated to the study of plants. That would be Arjun. Anthony Wayne?
You can't.
You cannot confer after a buzz in. That is negative 20 points. When Hercules needed assistance in obtaining the apples of Hesperides, from which Titan did he seek help? That would be Anthony Wayne. Arjun?
Atlas.
Atlas is correct. With regard to individual rights, what does the acronym ACLU stand for? That would be the American Civil Liberties Union. What force exerted by an object must be overcome by effort? That would be Anthony Wayne. Dylan.
Friction.
Incorrect. Resistance is what we were looking for there. While the Old English Beowulf's author is anonymous, who created Canterbury Tales? That would be Anthony Wayne. Joe.
Chaucer.
Chaucer is correct. On February 15th, 1898, which U.S. battleship exploded and sunk? That would be Anthony Wayne. Joe.
The Maine.
The USS Maine in the harbor of Havana. The Nubian Desert is in a somewhat remote part of what larger, well-known? That would be Anthony Wayne.
Sahara.
Sahara is correct. Under which U.S. general's leadership was the invasion of Normandy launched? That would be Dwight D. Eisenhower. End of game, end of round. Our winner with 275 points is Anthony Wayne. Let's give both these teams a big round of applause. In the spirit of good sportsmanship, let's come out, meet in the middle, shake hands and bump some fists. We'll see you at the next BGSU Brain Game.